Thanks, Staff Stiff. And now, Admiral Winter.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, thank you very much for the opportunity to address this forum. I am the Chief of Naval Research for the United States Navy, and I'm honored to join my esteemed colleagues here for a spectrum of information in the Arctic domain. What I'd like to do today is briefly describe to you the research efforts that are ongoing here in the Arctic domain, sponsored by the Office of Naval Research and the United States Navy. With that, the Office of Naval Research is 4,000 scientists, predominantly civilian scientists, working in the United States and around the globe with our industry, academia, and international partners to do the basic, applied, and advanced research, that discovery of new knowledge with the translation to application to develop and understand breakthrough technologies that allow us to continue to move forward, not only with our sailors and Marines, but in an international collaborative and cooperative nature. We do that in a strategic fashion, and this is a shameless plug for our strategic document that you can find online. The Department of Navy's Science and Technology Strategy that provides those strategic guideposts. It talks about the focus areas that our international partners, our academic colleagues, and our industrial partners come together to be able to do that basic and applied and advanced research. In that, we actually have a strategy for our investments. Those investments are focused in those 9 focus areas that you see at the top of the slide. They're broad by nature and by intent to capture those research areas that will allow us to explore, discover, and invent the breakthrough technologies that will keep us relevant into the future. We have a 4-boxed investment strategy that you see depicted that allows us to invest the majority of our resources, and not just funding, but the intellectual capital that we grow across our workforce to do that basic research with scientists and technicians around the globe, discovering that new knowledge. As we do that, then we bring in the application of different future capabilities. I had the opportunity just yesterday to visit a small company here that's been funded in basic research along with the University of Iceland for some very substantial, innovative, and breakthrough technologies for wound care. Being able to rapidly and expeditiously heal our understanding of all of the our medical research activities. Very interesting and dynamic work. From that technology maturation effort is captured in our yellow box that you see there as we push those technologies forward, again, with our international partnerships and our academia and industry partners. It's important to understand that it's not just 100% military applications. We are here as basic scientists working together to understand how we can continue to promote the collaboration, communication, and cooperation around the globe. With that as the scene setter, I'd like to talk a little bit about our naval strategy within the Arctic domain itself. In 2014, our Chief of Naval Operations released the Arctic Roadmap for the United States Navy. Looking across the spectrum of operations, acquisitions, and research to bring a holistic focus to ensure that we can continue to cooperate in the Arctic domain with our Arctic partners and also be able to meet our mission needs as we go forward. That strategic guidance comprised of the 4 strategic objectives that you see there of ensuring our homeland defenses, providing the opportunity for our naval forces to operate when and if needed, ensuring that we preserve those freedom of the seas, and also develop, maintain, and sustain our partnerships in the Arctic region. And with that, the implementation plan that was released, I'd like to focus on those partnerships because in the Navy, though we like our ships, the best ships in the Navy are partnerships. And those, thank you very much. Those partnerships sometimes can be exclusive, and that is not our intent. What you see here is a collaborative partnership arrangement, and I encourage the partnership expansion. In 2016 and 17, the Chief of Naval Operations and our Secretary of the Navy's objectives, aligned to the President's objectives in the Arctic, is to continue to expand those partnerships and understanding how we can share the data, share our experiences, and share the opportunities so that our nation's internal objectives and our collaborative partnership objectives can be realized. So what I'd like to do now is just briefly touch upon some of the exciting and very interesting scientific research that the Office of Naval Research is sponsoring and funding around the globe, and specifically in the Arctic. So you can see here 4 major initiatives that we have ongoing at this time, mostly focused around predictions, gathering data so that we can better model and simulate the Arctic environment, not only in the ice domain, but in the air and the undersea, so that we can better predict the future. And in that, understanding the acoustics and underwater hydrodynamic phenomenology. You can see our marginal ice initiative that really looks at how does the ice move, and can we predict the phenomenology of ice movement, not only in a diminishing, but in a regeneration as well. It's important that we understand and work together to do that. So up in the Beaufort Sea, we've established a number of sensor, and you can see the box outlines on the chart, that allow us to measure that. And we've been doing that for the last several years with very good results and an incredible amount of data that we've been sharing with our partners so that we can collectively bring together increased validities in our models. You can see the Canadian Basin Acoustic Propagation Experiment, where we're actually understanding the phenomenology of what we call the water column, shallow and deep water column acoustic properties, not only for understanding of movement of man-made objects, but also understanding wildlife and the way that the undersea domain can better be maintained from an engagement perspective in the acoustic domain. And also the Sea State Research Initiative. This one is very interesting, where we're looking at the actual environmental interfaces between the undersea, the surface, and the air as the environment from a thermal perspective, as well as dynamic wind shifts and the other attributes, environmental attributes that affect the Arctic itself. In gathering that data and being able to study that collaboratively across our industry and academic partners, we have been able to update our models to better predict the future. And when we talk about prediction of the future, it's important to understand, though the future for some people are measured in days and weeks, we're looking to be able to predict the future in decades. And in that quest, being able to understand the phenomenology, not only in the Arctic, but in the polar regions and the other regions of the globe that we operate as well. And then finally, the soda straw, I call it, the stratified ocean dynamics in the Arctic, really provides us the opportunity of the mixing of our oceans. When the Atlantic and the Pacific come together, understanding the dynamics of not only the mineral and the material, but also the hydrodynamic forces, that 2 bodies of water, though to the human being it looks like it's a homogeneous body of water, the actual forces that come together, and understand those forces and how that impacts the climate in the Arctic. Not only these research initiatives that we do collectively for the environment and understanding the phenomenology of the Arctic, but we also have research efforts in some of the tools that we use to operate in the Arctic, such as our ships. And in that case, getting together with our collaborative partners and understanding the challenges of operating ships in the Arctic. So we have 4 top-level surface vessel investments that are ongoing right now. Ship stability, understanding how can we bring to the captains of our seagoing ships to better predict and have early warning of ice buildup, of instability based upon ice buildup on the surface as well as impact to the ship itself. Also understanding from a hull-sea interaction to provide better design characteristics for the next generation of icebreakers and other vessels that choose to operate in the harsh environment of the Arctic. Advanced coatings, understanding how we can minimize ice buildup. The aero domain and our aircraft designers we've learned a lot from them that we're applying now into the Arctic for ice buildup mitigation, almost a Teflon type of applique. And then finally, propulsor designs. We have to move our ships through. Although harnessing the wind and the natural alternative energies of the Arctic is a focus area for the U.S. Navy, understanding how we can better design our propulsion systems to allow our ships to operate at less cost and more efficiency in that harsh environment. And then finally, a couple of sound bites on some of the exercises that the United States Navy continues to support collaboratively with our partners in the Arctic. Understanding the scientific ice expeditions and our ice exercises, actually taking operational units to be able to collect the data in areas that our research vessels cannot get to. We bring that data together and we share it with our partners to ensure that we can have the appropriate focus with the research community, the academic community, and our industry partners together. Collecting data and sharing data and understanding and being able to predict the phenomenology and the environment in the harsh Arctic environment is absolutely key to the United States Navy. So with that, I hope you've got a brief understanding of the Office of Naval Research, our dedication to new knowledge, breakthrough technologies, and capabilities that continue to bring our coalition of industry, academia together, a partnership here with Iceland and all of our Arctic partners for that collaboration and data sharing so that we can work together for communication, collaboration, and cooperation. With that, I look forward to taking your questions. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.